Hello, this is the next video in the Who is Responsible For. This is to do with parking in Bowers Lane. The Highway Code is made a regulatory document in the Road Traffic Act 1930. The Highway Code from 2019 clearly shows that there is strong advice, if not legally enforceable advice, as to where you should and should not park. Do not stop or park anywhere you would prevent access for emergency services, opposite or within 10 meters of a road junction, in front of an entrance to a property where the curb has been low, and on a bend. This is reinforced from the Surrey Police website, which reiterates the fact that nuisance and abandoned vehicles, what you can do about abandoned vehicles, parking disputes, design parking spaces, etc., etc., and then it comes illegal parking. As per Highway Code, it is illegal to park opposite or within 10 meters of a junction, over a drop curb, in parking bays, and dangerously. So, there we have the paperwork from those that know. And here we are starting with this vehicle PMA parked at the top of the road. This one's parked at the bottom, 3 cars here, 1 car parked on the left hand side, bottom of the lane. Some of the 15 or 17 cars, again here we show the Nissan at the top. The blue car has just dropped off a passenger. This is a type of vehicles we quite often get down the lane who need to get in and out. There's a car parked dead opposite the parking sign, blue van within 10 meters of the junction, somebody working through a canoe, another person parked right in the access, and so these photos go on. Now the question is, what would happen if an ambulance arrived? The car park is full, but as you notice, the cars are not actually getting to the car park to discover if it's full or not. They are just abandoning their vehicles as and where they feel fit. Now the problem is, as you see walking up lower one, there's a vehicle within 10 feet of the edge of the road. Is that acceptable? Well, there's another 3, another 2, black one. They're coming so thick and fast, I simply can't identify them all. This one is parked right on the T-junction. There's somebody who cannot drive on the white line on his own side because of the traffic. These are all taken within a reasonable time. This car has to come to the wrong side of the road as he approaches the blind bend. He's on the wrong side of the road as he goes over the drain before he goes uphill. The commentary goes on, and that was 2 cars coming down, one coming round the bend, a blind bend with 2 cars parked at the T-junction, another one coming down round the bend on the wrong side of the road before he approaches. We have families walking up the footpath, which is hardly wide enough. Another car comes around the bend on the wrong side of the road because he can't actually approach the bend in the correct manner. Car coming down on the completely wrong side of the road because he has no option. These vehicles are stuck, effectively, because of the red car that's parked on the junction, again within 10 feet, not 10 meters. 2 cars coming out, or trying to get out. That people carrier thing is in the way. Blue van causing problems, car coming from the left. where should be no parking because that's access to domestic properties. Another vehicle across the road. Well, now he has to reverse back down because the full contingent of parking slots has been taken. Now he goes shooting up the road where there's children, what have you, playing. In the meantime, the other two vehicles are stuck. Now imagine if an ambulance is trying to get out of here. As you see, this is dead end and the hammerhead is full up. We've got another couple of vehicles coming down. We've got another vehicle jammed here. Now you have to imagine an ambulance trying to get out, leaving one of the properties, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars coming down, and a cyclist. That's a resident trying to get into his house. Again, in the Land Rover is one of our residents trying to get in, and as you can see, it makes it extremely difficult. I'm standing with my back to a car, so it's the car that's stopping her getting round because it's parked on the junction. Here we have a scenario where there's cars trying to go one way and both way. This is a resident trying to get out, and another one coming round. This one is moving to park on the T junction, believe it or not. So even leaving it there is a problem. This one is somebody trying to reverse into a parking space. Imagine what it would be like with an ambulance trying to come through here, if there was one here. Then we have 2 coming down and 1, and a canoeist going back up. Obviously this person on the there's 2 vehicles on the junction which will be failing to comply with the 10 meters. As you see, the white vehicle still can't manage to maneuver into the corner. This blue van was there for about 5 hours, one Saturday. See the vehicles coming around. Another vehicle coming out. He was hanging over the end of a resident's lower curb. He, like everyone else, could not get into position to exit the T-junction safely and correctly. We have another vehicle coming down here, and then the pedestrians, and as you see, the cars are still parked there. It should be remembered that these cars are parked up anything up to 4 to 5 hours parked on these bends. So all of these cars will have to try and get through. There's 17 cars parked up here at the present time, and there's space legally for 12 or 13. Noting the 10-meter rule from a junction. And as you see, as he tries to come up, he has to go backwards and forwards, finds himself blocked. Then we have another car trying to get up and one coming down. Another one coming out. And as you see, straight across the drain cover, which is right on the wrong side of the road, the driver having no option because he cannot keep to the left before approaching the bend, which is making it highly dangerous. We now have 2 cyclists, the red car blocking the corner, a very rude girl who owned that. The white car is trying to get out, the BMW is trying to get in. Now the cyclists have gone up, and the white car obviously can't manoeuvre. Imagine the ambulance behind it, and if I see something correctly, there's a car coming down. Maybe not. Now we have one of my neighbours trying to get out of their drive. And this is the number of cars that are parked along here at this particular time. And if an ambulance wanted to come through down here, he'd get in and then he's trapped. So you imagine a lot of these cars here for 2 to 4 hours. So once they're there and abandoned, This guy was actually parked on the bend. It was his car, so he could have moved if necessary, but the van behind him is just as much in fault. I've made no attempt to hide the number plates because basically they're all law breakers. There we have another car going up and another one reversing round, trying to get out. The top one is indicating just how difficult it's to get through. As you see, the white car at the back still is having problems getting through. This another particular car parked in front of that blue van. A blue van, like I say, been there for 4 or 5 hours. Cars trying to get in and out, cyclists, and the white car going down through. Now, of course, we're in a scenario where one of the cars that has never bothered even looking into the car park to see if there's any space is coming down to do a T-turn to go back up again. In the meantime, as you can see, the car park is full up, and increasing the size of the car park is not the answer, because they're actually not even getting to the car park before they park up. Another 2 cars coming down. That's one of our regulars down here, and stop for a quick chat. He was expressing his concern for the number of vehicles parked on it. Somebody trying to do a U-turn on the top there, halfway down the slope. Here we have it coming up. This is the location where that Nissan car was parked up again behind the PMA, and you can see even with them parked here, which still doesn't meet the 10-meter rule. It's a neighbour going out. He actually managed to drive straight out and straight round. As you can see, the difficulty with cars parked here, and we've now got 2 cars trying to get out, and the Kia parked right on the junction. This is a van trying to come down through, and obviously with a neighbour trying to safely avoid the person with a canoe. No, that's not the neighbour, that's a stranger. But trying to operate and pick up a canoe on the T-junction is clearly an unsafe practice. This car's on the wrong side of the road, before he can get back on the own side of the road. This is another scenario, 2 cars coming in, 1 car coming out. The guy with the canoe is totally oblivious to the problems. That's my neighbour trying to swap the cars around so that he can get out. So he's got to go round, and clearly he's trying to avoid everything. With that black car on the road, people trying to get in. Yet another car coming down on the coming down the right side of the road, but there's some cars coming up, so he can't get through, and the other car's trying to get out. And finally, we have a long wheelbase transit and a short wheelbase transit, both trying to exit the Bowers Lane lower T junction. An ideal scenario demonstrating just how difficult, with all these cars parked here, an ambulance would have. As you see, the long one wheelbase has gone over the wheel. He's an absolute full lock to get past the blue car, and he's hitting the curb on the left hand side. We can only stop but ask, please can we have some yellow lines just around this junction and at the top for everyone's safety. Thank you very much indeed for watching.